So first of all, I would like you to introduce yourself, starting with you, Zach, and then Julien, and hopefully Ethan. And if not, we'll keep it like a family one. Here he is. So come, Ethan. Start first.
Awesome. So I'm Zach, CEO at Snag Solutions. We build white label loyalty points programs and white label marketplaces for top brands, games, and creators.
Amazing. Julien, I'm the co-founder of Doors3. It's a Web3 consulting agency. So basically, we help Web2 brands.
A bit louder, I think.
We help Web2 brands to move into Web3, and more specifically, loyalty program. So I will have some insights to share with you.
I'm coming.
Cool.
Voice. My name is Ethan. I don't have the microphone. Pierce. So, Borderless Ventures. I invest in the Web3, AI, and creator economy type things. And CryptoAssets Institute. I advise on this kind of subject to large brands, a lot of the fashion companies and things like that. And co-founder of the NFT Factory Pierce, which is France's Web3 headquarters.
Cool. It's going to be even more fun because my questions were in my phone and my phone is with Victor. You can keep it. We'll try to make it rock and roll, okay? If I need it, I'll ask you. So, first of all, who here knows what is a dynamic NFT? Okay, cool. So we need a little bit of education. Do you mind if we go through that and have them explain? Who wants to explain what's a dynamic NFT? Julien? Because I have no idea.
I go for it. That's about what it's enabled. So basically, the idea behind a dynamic NFT, it has some parameter to change according events. So you have this view of a static NFT, an image, some properties. The idea with the dynamic NFT is based on events, external events, pull out with an oracle, or could be at least a time to have an evolution about the image, about property. So we'll give an example. For a brand that wants to offer money can buy experience to a customer through an NFT, it could evolve at a certain time to grant these perks, or it could be a profile picture, a status, basically in the journey with the brand, your status is up and then the image evolves. So it could be a tree that grow if it's something for good, for example. So yeah, basically that's what it does.
Is this what we call metadata?
Yeah,
It has a link with that or not?
Yeah, basically there are protocol behind it, so a kind of ERC protocol, and the idea is to have the metadata associated to the NFT able to change according some parameters. So the idea for a brand and coming to the use case is to have the good behavior that the brand wants in the case of a loyalty program. So that's what is tricky and what people in the ecosystem, so I think you have a solution, or basically that could be a concern, but this is what we try to do.
So at Snag Solution, you have something that is related to that, or you work on dynamics at any point?
I mentioned this to Sander via email, but we do nothing with dynamic NFTs.
Why?
I think dynamic NFTs are super cool from an art perspective, from a collectability perspective. But if we're talking about the concept of loyalty, taking a lot of the gamification and utility off-chain and giving brands the ability to directly incentivize the contributions from their community without having to worry about things like gas cost, and by providing more direct utility that's specific to their community, feels more authentic as we're talking to real brands. So I think dynamic NFTs are super fucking cool as a collector, but maybe, in my opinion, not the most direct tie to loyalty.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting technology option to be able to bring layered value. Imagine, like we talked about Planies a lot today, the NFTs for Air Baltic. Well, imagine if your Planie can have like a snowstorm right now because my two Planies are in Tallinn and it's Christmas. like imagine that you could change that some way and it evolves it. Maybe that's just kind of cute or funny, but sometimes those little things actually bring a lot of value. If you look like Pudgy Penguins and how they create so many memes and so much, the merchandise, they've created this thing where it's not just the series of NFTs, it's actually they've now taken that and made it so much bigger and like my good night, my GN tweet last night was a little pudgy jumping into bed and pulling up his blanket. Like, you know, that's not this. But my point is being able to customize these things in even small ways might create more loyalty and different things. The one that I know of that I really like is the wallet I always tell people who aren't into crypto to get when I'm getting them into crypto, or the brands when I'm having executives in front of me and I'm onboarding them, is Zerion, Zerion. And it's a great UX wallet. Everything about it's really great. They're doing a lot of really cool multi-chain stuff. But the interesting thing is at least for your Ethereum side of things, you can mint your Zerion DNA, which is a little kind of looks almost like one of those mannequins at the store where they put clothes on it. Like, it doesn't have any features. But what it does is it looks at the data of your usage of that wallet, and every day it can look slightly different. It's just constantly evolving based on what you do with that wallet. And it's just kind of cool that it's not just an avatar that is stuck. It's an avatar that just kind of continues to move and evolve. And maybe that's not interesting for everyone, but I think that there's a place where it is. And like there's that gets a certain amount of people to go, oh, that's cool.
I actually want to jump in on the Pudgy Penguins point for a second, because they are doing this in Pudgy world where you scan a QR code, it generates a trait or a set of traits, 1 rare one, 3 not rare ones, etc. And you attach that to your forever Pudgy in Pudgy world, which is your character. And it's not loyalty, it's gaming, but I think that's actually quite similar to the use case that you just described. And so when you talk about gaming, equipable items, etc., I think that's a much clearer through line for this stuff.
A lot of these games and different things where you're able to get, like, one of the ones that was popular for a little bit real quick with some of the SocialFi was XPet on Twitter, where as you're using Twitter, your little pet, you know, Tamagotchi like little animal was doing something based on your stuff. Well, they did a thing at Christmas where you could buy an NFT, or maybe even just get dropped an NFT of a Santa hat. And so if you have that NFT, well, your ex-pet in the thing can wear the Santa hat. So that layered approach to where you can create some kind of, it's not all dynamic NFTs, it's not all the same tech, but there's versions of it that allow you to do that. I think
like Tamagotchi,
really,
right? It's like Tamagotchi.
Yeah, I think that really drives, when a community is trying to figure out how do you take 10,000 things or 2,000 things and keep them interesting over time, part of that is by allowing them to evolve. And so however technologically we're doing it under this idea of dynamic NFTs, that evolution is really important, I think, for continued community growth or engagement.
But that's value for a brand, in fact. I can give you an example, because I really think it's a main opportunity for a brand talking about engagement program. So imagine a brand that wants to innovate and set up a new loyalty program. The idea, for example, is to give a first version of the digital collectibles. We don't call it NFT. The brand don't care. It's a digital collectible. It's a smart wallet. And so let's say the first status, imagine it's a car manufacturer. The first status is rookie pilot. Okay, simple one. Then, based upon your experience, your commitment, engagement with the brand, your status goes up. From a rookie pilot, you start to become an expert pilot. And with this NFT, since the property changed, you could access to new games, use your pilot to play a game, a Web3 game that partners with the brand. So I think the potential is you could establish a quest for the end user to be involved and engage, to have a status that progress with associated property, and then to have utility that combine with that. So this is what we want, and we try to establish with brands, to have this business logic to first enable the brand to generate value with that, and something that's interesting for the end user, but secondly, for the future to enable the brand to collaborate with other brands. And imagine that the NFT, this rookie pilot, could evolve as an helicopter pilot or plane pilot if this car manufacturer collaborates with airplane company. So that could be interesting, and what we try is to build this framework to enable it in the future. So I think there is a lot of potential beyond dynamic NFT. And yeah, we don't care so much about the technical details, but it's a feature that the brand are looking forward.
If we thank you for this one because that allows me to go on the next question. If you see what Air Baltic is doing, for example, and all the air brands, they tell you we're using this carbon offset. Do you want us to plant a tree for you, and you pay $2 or whatever, but you just pay and then you never know what happened. What if that tree is an NFT that evolves and you can see the tree growing, etc., and you can see the impact of what you're doing? Do you think we can get more creative and go further than just the brand status, or maybe it can be even your diploma, how maybe you don't succeed to have your degree at the end of your 5 years of masters because you had a problem, but still, maybe the 2 first year you achieved something, and that could be like an NFT evolving, showing how you evolved in your career or whatever. Can we go further than just speaking about what brands are doing today? Would you allow us to go?
Yeah, and what I think is interesting there, the diploma one is interesting because imagine that you're getting your MBA at Harvard or whatever, and so, well, at the end of it, you're going to get your degree. But what if you could get, and you're going to get an NFT with that proves you have that degree. But what if for the first year and the second year, you got like, it was actually one NFT, but it evolves. So, oh, you've completed your first year. Oh, now you've completed your second year. Oh, now you've actually completed it. I don't know. But I think if we take that into other places, that gets fun, because the problem right now with brands when it comes to leveraging these programs to build community or to do loyalty and rewards is they have to drop a new NFT for every single accomplishment or every certain thing. So you end up with this wallet full of different NFTs. Well, what happens if you can create those in a way where, no, I have one single NFT with Louis Vuitton, and every time I buy something new, my NFT evolves, maybe. Or maybe it's streetwear, or it's, maybe it's for New Balance for your shoes, or whether it's for, it doesn't all have to be luxury or things like that. Or with my planies, that maybe after I fly 10 flights with Air Baltic, my little planies gets a little badge because there's that NFT was able to evolve. But instead of dropping me a new NFT that's just in parallel next to it, it actually can modify. I think that creates a really interesting this idea of this, where the NFT can evolve, creates something that becomes even more unique and specific to the customer.
But it can also evolve in a way that is smart, because you were talking with Air Baltic this morning. It was really a cool talk. I usually don't listen, but I did. Not because of you, because it was interesting. No, usually I'm working on something.
Note to organizers.
Yeah, I can't. But then it was super interesting because you said something. You said, I'm not flying, but I still get rewards. And I think the society we created so far is a society that rewards you for the end goal, for what you achieved. But whatever you do from point A to point B, that is a long walk, that is a long work, this is not rewarded. So whatever you're doing to amplify the brand or whatever you're doing is not rewarded. It's rewarded if you achieve the goal. I think with the dynamic NFT, there is an opportunity to achieve, to reward you for what you're doing in the shadows, even if you don't reach the goal. Do you have any brands that you like doing something better than Air Baltic, maybe? Sorry, Air Baltic. I know you're paying for most of this.
I can come back to your question about doing something differently outside a simple engagement program. We have in France an example with a major brand. Basically, our client is the foundation. So the purpose of the foundation associated to a brand is to give money. So basically, every year, they give millions of euros for biodiversity.
Can you introduce me to them?
It's still confidential, but it will be released soon. But basically, they give money, and this is not enough. They want to go beyond that. So there is an idea about trustability to generate trust, because some people, like end users, said, okay, it's brainwashing, or So they want to generate trust. So Web3, blockchain is a way to do it. And on top of this program and what we try to build, there is an idea with dynamic NFT and with this example of a tree. So there are around biodiversity protection, so basically forest, etc. And there is this idea to have a small tree at the beginning, then it grows along the Web3 program. So it's combined artistic, and I think for the end user, the feeling that he's doing good, because at the end it's a Web3 for good activation. In this example, it's not a loyalty program, But you know this good feeling about you are doing, you can visualize it through a dynamic NFT. That's another example.
And I think if we look at the way rewards programs are already structured, if we look at the airline thing, you already have, so you have I have my rewards number for Air France, and then you're automatically silver at the beginning, I think. It starts that way. And then after a certain amount, you get gold, and then you can, if you do a whole lot, you get platinum, and then if you're crazy or whatever, you happen to have diamond, but that's like 3 people. But the point is that your status can evolve based on how you've interacted with the brand, and in that case, taking flights and whatever. Well, if my interaction with the brand, with Air France, for example, was an NFT, why do I need a new NFT that is platinum or gold? Why can't the one I have just become gold or platinum? And I think that's what this is about, is as brands start to engage with this and create any kind of an NFT, or digital asset driven type program, it makes more sense for those things to evolve than it is necessarily to replace them or add on versions of it. And the technology now exists for that to be the case. And I think Xerion is an interesting one to look at just because it does work. I mean, it's a real one that you can see it every day or every couple of days, or as you do more things, it does evolve, and that's interesting. It's not a gimmick, but it doesn't really mean much. It's more just about you having because they're all kind of rare, because they're all unique. But I think that's interesting. But if we look at regular rewards programs, they do offer tiers. Well, why shouldn't the NFT that ties me to a brand evolve versus why should I have a silver NFT, a gold NFT, and a platinum NFT? Why can't my NFT just become the next thing? I think that makes a lot of sense. But just the thing I wanted to add in that I think is really interesting with rewards and loyalty, we always talk about the idea that if I have if I have my Planey, I'm getting benefits from Air Baltic. But what people also forget that we're going to start to see more of, we see it in small ways, is anybody here could give, whatever your business is, you could give people benefits because they have a Planey. It's not just Air Baltic that can provide rewards and loyalty for people who hold Planeys. You can too, for anybody's NFT, because we can look and see what's in the wallet. We see it all. If you have New Balance NFTs, you go in the New Balance store and they give you 10% when you scan your QR code. That's cool. But if you go next door to the Nike store and you don't have any New Balance NFTs, they can still give you 10% and say, hey, why don't you come be a Nike customer? Because we see that you're a New Balance customer. Like, it's not just about and you can't do that really with the hard-coded. I'm like, yeah, I guess I could show you my gold QR code for Air France or something and you could do things, but that's weird. That's not going to happen. But if you're using wallets to connect, now you can provide benefits where now it all becomes it crosses over in really interesting ways.
Yeah, we created the new internet is going to be collaborative. We all know that. But I hear the practical Ethan saying, or the practical, a bit lazy Ethan, I guess, saying, hey, I don't want to have like 10 NFTs. I'd like to have one that evolves. And this is super practical. But the funny Ethan that likes to play would have liked to play maybe with what happened with Bored Ape, and you can tell us about the Mutant, when you had to gamify the change of your NFT from a Bored Ape to Mutant. You as a Bored Ape holder, that's how we got to know each other. Can you tell us more about that, which I believe is the birth of dynamic NFTs?
Yeah, so I mean, that's just pretty basic airdrop mechanics, and enabling existing holders to access the new assets via claim. I think gaming, to me, is the key use case here. And when we talk to brands like the MLB and the NBA, and we ask them, hey, who do you want to be more like? What they see as their kind of like mortal fear right now is people aren't watching games, they're on TikTok. And they want to be like gaming because even when gamers aren't in games, they're watching their favorite gamers on TikTok. And so as we think about how dynamic NFTs apply to games, it's enabling the character, especially as fully on-chain games like Proof of Play, Pirate Nation, and a bunch of others start to hit the mainstream. It's how does that character who's leveling up accrue benefits like the ability to access an airdrop like Bored Ape. And because that metadata is all on-chain, even if those the changes in metadata are getting triggered by off-chain activities like gameplay, social contributions, etc., that's building, kind of back to Ethan's point, a 360-degree customer profile where brands can actively target offers, benefits, or actually just give users the ability to exit the ecosystem and sell their leveled up asset to the next user, who's then able to financially benefit from having put their time and sweat equity into the project and brand.
Thank you so much, Zach, for this. I'm going to ask you this one, all of you. What about the security part of it? Like the fact that the NFT is evolving, etc. Don't we have like more possibilities to hack and create like, I don't know, but if tomorrow someone is hacking the evolution of one NFT and it's just like changing the metadata, and imagine like a big hack on something important, turning that to a
Today, that's a
pick. You know?
Yeah, today that's a fraud vector because most dynamic NFTs use off-chain metadata to trigger changes in traits, etc. But it doesn't have to be that way, and that's why I mentioned like a Pirate Nation or a Proof of Play, because they're doing fully on-chain gaming, which means that every change in metadata is controlled by the smart contract that's reading on-chain events that are occurring through the game, through the ecosystem.
Yeah, but that's when you know how it will evolve. But sometimes the brand maybe can the contract be changed at any point? Because sometimes you know what you're doing because you wanna give like silver, gold, platinum. It's easy, but sometimes the demand, like the customer, is asking for something, and the brand has to change. So will it take the brands to change the whole contract and change everything again, and then come with a new idea, or can they just change that on chain?
We had this case for a brand, and I think in fact it's maybe easier in terms of security with dynamic NFT. I will explain why. Brands, as soon as they want to launch, say, an NFT activation or project, if you multiply the number of NFT, you multiply the number of smart contracts. So every time, if you are not cautious and you don't do a cybersecurity audit, you multiply the risk. If you do one good dynamic NFT, you could put a lot of effort to audit this one and to be sure it's secure, that you understand what it does. And what is specific with brand is that those external parameters to make the evolution, basically they came from IT system, like the brand IT system. So they are cautious about this cybersecurity. So basically, a part of the cybersecurity with dynamic NFT rely on the existing IT system already taking care of in terms of cybersecurity. Then you put a lot of effort to secure this dynamic NFT. So we had the case for a brand, and even for us as a like strategic partner, we were more comfortable to say, okay, let's focus on this dynamic NFT to be sure we understand what it does, and then it's okay. Then let's go. So at the end, yeah, it's we have some experience. We know how it works, and it's okay to build in terms of security.
We all talk about democratization of what we're doing here and trying to make it easy. You were saying this morning, and I think we all agree with that, the tools are not easy to use for a normal person. They just want to receive something and that's it, not do anything. I think our generation is a generation that looks at videos one after the other, and you were talking about TikTok. We became lazy as fuck. So if you ask people to create a wallet, store a seed phrase, be paranoid every 2 hours, depending on what you have in your bag, they're never gonna have mass adoption. But do you think this is gonna lead to any kind of, not mass adoption, but a better understanding, a better will for the brand to create something towards the loyalty?
Well, I like the idea that, again, the dynamic NFT idea helps that one thing evolve versus having a whole bunch of them. So I think that's just easier for people. And again, we have to separate stuff too. If we're talking about community projects like one of our animal JPEG, ideas, well, of course you want those maybe to not evolve, or you want to have control over how they evolve. Or maybe today I want my pudgy penguin to wear a beanie because it's really cold out, but maybe not whenever it's warm. Like, okay, fine. If we want to configure those in some way, that makes your beanie for your punk. And so. We could change its hair color every time you do, and so like that, it could evolve. But so maybe you want that to happen. You don't want that, or you want control over it. Whereas I think the brand ones is different. I don't think people are going to care that their Air France NFT changes colors because now it's a gold NFT or a platinum NFT. But the point is having that choice, but also the fact that it might make it easier. Like you just can't have to, you just don't want to have to do the stuff of this. When technology adoption happens, whether it was with e-commerce and with payments, with smartphone, with applications, with social media, with all the different things that we've come across, really this huge peak of adoption happens when the technology starts to disappear and people just understand it, it's easier to work with. And so I think there's a potential for the dynamic side of this to just be, if you don't have to do extra things for something to happen and get value from in that idea, that just makes sense from a UX perspective. Maybe you want control over it so that you can decide whether or not these things evolve or not. But you definitely, this needs to become something that when you sign into a website with your Gmail account as a single sign-on so that it gives you this digital wallet, idea, except it's not a digital wallet, but that's what we're using it for at this point. You sign into stuff. Well, we're going to want the same stuff with our true digital wallets, but obviously the 10, 20 million of us that are playing with this stuff right now on an active basis, that's nothing compared to the 8 billion that are out there, but the 8 billion don't give a crap about how things work. That's not how technology is adopted. So it needs to be super simple and like basically people sign into their wallet or whatever with their email address or their phone number, however that works, and that's it. If you pull out your wallet in your pocket, you don't have your savings account or your stocks or the expensive stuff. Yes, he does. And his ledger password is 1, 2, 3, 4. No, but the idea is you don't carry that stuff with you. So you can have a wallet that's just your regular wallet for stuff. It does not have to be a ledger and be Fort Knox. So maybe the stacks or other products will come out where it is easier to use and we can have higher security. But the reality is most people don't need that because what's in the wallet isn't really that valuable. So it needs to be, more importantly for adoption, it needs to be accessible more than it needs to be like super secure. We need to have the security too.
It will happen eventually.
I think this dynamic NFTs creates a scenario where rewards and loyalty programs can offer tools to their customers and their fans that are simple to use, that evolve both in the way they look or in the benefits that they provide without people having to understand how to manipulate them.
Okay, so let me challenge that for all of you. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I think dynamic NFT won't help about your UX experience. I think it's the same if it's dynamic or normal NFT. About that, I think the game changer is wallet abstraction, for example, and either it's a dynamic NFT or not, we don't care. But I think a critical advantage with dynamic NFT, coming back to mass adoption, today it's okay, but imagine if we share this vision about Web3 coming a big thing, mass adoption.
This is exactly where I want to take you.
Yeah,
let's say we're 20 years from now.
In 20
what happened?
And coming back to your point, if you starting to generate NFT, as soon as the status increase, bronze, silver, gold, it's gas fees, transaction, and today we already have this problem of scalability using layer 2, but imagine if all the people over the world use it, even though layer 2 will not be enough. So definitely in terms of conception, it's mainly more efficient to have a dynamic NFT that evolves, no gas fees to do it. So more efficient, only one NFT. And I think about mass adoption, that's in terms of technology and for builder people like most of you, that's most relevant to do it.
What about you, Zach? Let's say we're 20 years from now. What the world looks like regarding.
So to me, like social sign-on and block space availability are givens. We have too much L2 block space post Denkun upgrade already, and there's actually just going to be competition for network effects there. To me, dynamic NFTs is just the gamification layer, right? Like everyone wants to be a video game, and this makes it easy for brands to access those mechanics and pull them into their products.
So it's like a gate. You. Okay. What about you, Ethan? Let's say 20 years from now.
Well, I think within the next couple of years, we're going to start, because there's already so many interesting multi-chain wallet type apps and stuff like that, where at this point, we even say multi-chain, we're still talking about the tech. But the point is, at some point, I'm going to open my Xerion wallet or my MetaMask or whatever, and I'm just going to have an app. It's going to show me all my stuff, and whether or not it is on which chain or what it's doing is not even visible, or I have to go look for it because it won't matter. I just need one thing that holds all my stuff. And we're going to get there faster than not. 20 years is way down the road. We'll get to, yeah, I'd say 5, easy. And but we get to a place where just, again, our digital wallet will be like our physical wallet. It'll just be the thing that identifies us, that has all of our stuff in it. And I like the idea that some of that stuff can evolve based on our interaction with it. Not necessarily all of it, and not necessarily in ways that we don't want. But I love the idea that it can evolve if we want it to, or if it fits the situation. Some things we will want to configure, we'll be the one to want to evolve that NFT in dynamic ways. Others, it might be just because that's the natural progression of the fact that I'm interacting with the brand or the thing. But I think we're going to get there faster than not. But the big issue is we want this to come sooner, but we're still on a 5 to 10 year window of the world caring. We still need a Taylor Swift to come out with her digital music pass, or those kind of moments where all of a sudden 20 million new people have a wallet with something in it.
I want to play off that. I was talking about fully on-chain games earlier. Farcaster is fully on-chain social media.
Yeah.
And so if we look at a brand that wants to incentivize social farming and gameplay today, they have to pipe in Twitter API data, which is where there's both attack risk vectors, et cetera. But as the world moves on chain, then the dynamic NFTs can be a fully contained ecosystem. And that's going to open up much cooler use cases that are native to Web3.
Yeah. I think if we think about dynamic NFTs maybe in the future, what Stepan did is absolutely fantastic. And I think the shoe industry is missing out something. They're missing an opportunity, and we have to understand what Stepan did when they created those shoes that you just walk and get paid because you walk, or run and get paid because you... if you take a brand, for example, like Nike, I've been, not today, but I've been wearing Nikes my whole life because I love the brand. I love the status, I love the idea behind it, I love the design, but I've never got paid for that. Like to walk with a pair of Nike in Fifth Avenue or Les Champs-Élysées, I've never got paid for that. But I've been a living advertisement walking for them. And I believe if you add the dynamic NFT plus geolocalization, you can have the possibility to say, okay, I've been walking 25 minutes in the Champs-Élysées with my pair of Nikes, and then you can claim something out of this, and then you can see your NFT moving with Nike and saying, okay, now you can claim this because your NFT become that, et cetera, et cetera. So it gives the brands another way to incentivize the relationship with their customers, and this is what is exciting about dynamic NFTs, in my opinion.
One of the things I mentioned earlier that I think is at the core of Web3 rewards and loyalty that gets me really excited about it is the Starbucks program is a whole discussion about why it stopped and different things. But the point is this idea that for each journey stamp, the NFT that you could get from Starbucks in this program, there were 5 or 6 tasks that you would do. You know, watching a 2-minute video on sustainability and coffee or things like that. Only one of the tasks, maybe 2, but usually only one of the tasks was spend money at Starbucks. So the whole thing that's cool about loyalty and rewards in Web3 is that brands can create loyalty and rewards through engagement, not just through a commercial exchange, which means all of the builders are going to find really interesting ways to what is the engagement, walking or tweeting or
the farming,
whatever the thing is that you do. Yesterday the discussion with the Estonian chicken farmer and his chicken NFTs, which was fantastic yesterday. This idea that everybody's going to figure out. There's going to be all kinds of engagements that we can leverage, but the point is that rewards and loyalty can be based on engagement, not on an exchange of capital. And I think that's where this gets really interesting, because today you can't do that. Like, you got your salad card for the restaurant, it gets stamped every time you buy the salad, and you get a free salad after 10 salads. That's each one you buy. It doesn't count the fact that you went to the gym or did whatever, so you engaged in or you told a friend about it, and all of a sudden you got some engagement because you were like, hey, I really love this restaurant, you should go. So they got value, and that engagement but it can't be measured in the current version we have.
This is super important. I think when you talk about restaurants, I think it's not normal that maybe you and me, we pay the same price in a restaurant. I think it's absolutely absurd. And we don't have, this will change everything. I think if we design it in a way, if we get more creative, and we will, maybe not me, maybe our children or the children of our children, I think everything is going to be more fair. And I think it's not fair to pay the same price in a restaurant. Why? Maybe you are a good customer. You come 10 times per month or whatever, and I come once and we pay the same price. Maybe you're a good influencer, and you posting a picture there is going to make skyrocket the price of whatever. Maybe today cherry is less expensive than yesterday, and we shouldn't be paying the same prices. I think this opens a range of possibilities that is absolutely fantastic. So before we close it, because I can see the clock is off. When it's good, you don't see the time going. So maybe you want to have a closing word, or.
I think I talk too much anyway, so I think I was good with. I think that just for me, Web3 rewards and loyalty is about engagement, not about just not paying for every single thing, and that's how I level up. And I think if we think about that, well, then engagement, if that engagement is tabulated and shown in some way, well, then we need dynamic something for a lot of that. That just rounds out the whole concept.
Cool. Julien?
Coming back to the question about 20 years, I think we will have some fun to see the evolution, because as far as we can see, we work for some brand, they have this vision, like Web3 people inside the brand. So I think it will go pretty well for those brands. And some others maybe will go down, they will not be leaders anymore. So in fact, on the long term, I think we will see a shift, a transformation, and some brands will emerge using Web3 technology. So that's what we are looking for. And basically, this is what we try to do, and what people of the ecosystem will have to try to do to help the good ones, the ones that want to move forward, to be the leaders of tomorrow.
Cool. Thanks. Zach?
I think your restaurant example closed it better than I can. So thank you for that. And beyond that, I'd say 20 years from now, everything will be a game. So
I agree with that. Gamifying the...
Yeah, that's...
Guys, thank you so much for your attention. Thank you. If you have a question, let me challenge you maybe. If you have a question, raise your hand. I know we are out of time, but I don't care. It's my...
If not, I'm around. I'm sure they're around, happy to chat with you. So.
Question? Any question? No? That's because you were so good that they don't have questions. Thank you so much, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot.